On behalf of the faculty at Charleston Southern University, I wanted to welcome you to ECBA 200 and also to the degree program. We are absolutely thrilled that you have chosen our university to further your education. So, welcome. This is going to be quite a long video because what I'm going to be doing is walking you through how to get started here successfully in your first course. So I would encourage you to watch this carefully, and hopefully you'll find some help, and it'll help you get started much quicker. So when you log into your very first class here in Blackboard, Blackboard is our learning platform, you're going to see this page, and it's the home page of the course, and you'll have some announcements here. I would encourage you to make sure that you always read the announcements. Some of your professors will use it every week, and it'll be a good thing for you to be able to stay current, to get some of the latest thinking, and get some tips for that particular week. So make sure that you scroll down and read the announcements. The oldest announcements on the bottom, the newest ones on the top, okay? A good place to start is start here. And so this is really a series of tutorial videos and links that should help you move forward. I can tell you, I use a Mac, and sometimes Safari is really wonky here. So I would encourage you to use Firefox or Google Chrome as your default browser for the course. The second thing here talks about how to access your Buck mail. This is really important. Sometimes students forget to check their CSU email accounts. We cannot use your personal email account once you get into the program. That's not a CSU rule. That's a federal government rule. So we need to make sure that you check, and I would encourage you to check daily. Better yet, just make sure that you put your CSU email account anywhere that you have a regular account. So if that's on your smartphone, I would encourage you to do that. As I mentioned earlier, make sure that you check announcements. I'm going to show you here in a minute about course information. A couple of videos here on how to check your assignment grades, how to submit an assignment. This is very important. One of the things that you're going to be doing in this program is using the CSU online library to find academic sources to support your work. And so this gives you a nice tutorial on how to do that. This is the link to tech support. I would encourage you to bookmark that outside of the of here, because if you're unable to log into Blackboard for some reason, you'll need to contact the CSU Tech Support Center. So also a tour of the student community is here. I'll show you where that is in just a minute. And review of the CSU Student Handbook. That's a long document, but if you're ever interested in looking at it, I would encourage you to do that as well, okay? So Start Here is a good place to get started, just so that you can begin to get familiar with the navigation here of Blackboard, all right? So as I mentioned, this is the page that you will normally land on every time that you log into the course. The next important page here is course information. And so you'll see an overview of this particular course. You will also see a copy of the syllabus. I would encourage you to make sure you download that syllabus, and not only download it, but read it. It has important information as to what you'll be doing each week. It talks about the grading scale. For example, we operate on a 1,000 point system, so there'll be 1,000 total points available in this course, and it will show you how many points you have to gain by the end of the course in order to make a particular grade, okay? It also talks to you about what happens with late submissions. Are they allowed? If they are late, what is the penalty, and so on and so on. So make sure that you read the syllabus. It also includes information on the two textbooks you'll be using in this course. One is Student Success and Christian Worldview. The other is the APA Publication Manual. And both of these should be sent to you via digital access cards. And so both of these will be accessed digitally through an account called Vital Source Bookshelf. And so I've given you a link here in order to find that. Okay? So that is course information. The big takeaway here, make sure you read the syllabus. All right? The next piece down here, you'll see discussion forums. And at the top of the discussion forum are some things about Ask the Professor, Course Cafe, Prayer Request. For example, if you have a question for me, you can either send me an email or you can ask it through the discussion forum here. Course Cafe and Prayer Requests will be seen by everyone. So if you have something that you just don't understand and you're trying to figure out if other students are having some of the same challenges, you can post them in Course Cafe. If you have prayer requests that you would like your fellow classmates and the professor to help you pray about, you can post those in here as well. Okay? Important section here, my grades. And so what you will see here is everything that you're going to receive a grade on in this particular course. And you'll know that you've received a grade when you look over here and this asterisk over here is replaced by a number. And so let's say that you see a 40/40 here. That means that the professor has graded it, and you'll be able to click on that and view the comments from the professor. Also, we utilize grading rubrics, and these are for the benefit of the students so that they can understand what is expected of them and how the grades are impacted based upon certain activities there. So the discussion forum has a rubric, the assignment has a rubric as well. And so that is down here under My Grades. If you'd like to send an email to anyone in the class, you can hit email, and then you can have selected users. So if you want to send it to me, you can do that. So you can click on that, move it over here, type in the subject and the content. Now the really cool thing about this is any email that you send from the Blackboard system, you'll get a copy of in your CSU email account. So that's a good way to be able to communicate with me and with your fellow students. Down here under CSU Student Community, this gives you access to just about everything. So it's everything from the Writing Center to Buckmail to different resources to the CSU Library and so on and so on and so on. So that is a good tab to become familiar with. Okay? So that's just kind of a highlight down here, by the way, is the direct link to the CSU online library. All right? So everything down here in the left margin is something, you may use some, you may not use others, but it's pretty intuitive. So I would encourage you to make sure that you take advantage of those. All right? So how do you know what you need to do each week? Well, this course and the rest of the courses here, for the most part, are 7-week courses. And so you're going to have activities each week that you're going to have to do. So coming up here in the very first week, you can go down and click on week 1, and you will see a week 1 overview that will talk to you about what's going to be happening in this upcoming week. What are the objectives that are out there? Some professors will just have text here. Some will have text and a video overview. It just depends on the individual class, okay? So that is the overview of the week. Down here under Read and Study, this tells you the things that you have to make sure that you focus on this week from a reading perspective. Sometimes there are attachments, sometimes there are web links, sometimes there are videos depending on the course. So you'll see here in the very first week of this class, you have 2 chapters of textbook reading from the Student Success and Christian Worldview textbook. So you'll see that you have to read chapter 1 and you have to read chapter 2. Now down here you have information on discussion board rubrics, and so you'll see a copy of the rubric there. You'll see a copy of the assignment rubric here. By the way, these rubrics are also included in the syllabus. So you have them in 2 different places here. If you print out or save the syllabus, that'll show the same exact thing that you have right here. Okay? So each week you need to make sure that you look at the overview and that you come down to read and study and read, watch, link, click on the information that's included. Now, sometimes there'll be quite a bit of information in here. Sometimes there'll be things that are called supplemental material that you will need to read. So make sure that you stay on top of that, particularly early in the week as you're looking to develop and get ready to submit things. Speaking of submitting things, what you have to do this week is under Do This Week. So if you click on that, you'll see in this particular class, you will have 3 things to submit each week, okay? The first one is a discussion forum. Discussion forums in the online community are equivalent to, perhaps some of you remember from other classes where you had a professor who said, what I want you to do is put your desks in a circle and talk about this subject. Well, the online discussion forum is the equivalent of put your desk in a circle and talk about this subject. So this week, in week 1, pretty simple. You get to talk about your favorite topic, yourself, right? So you'll see here a question that is asked. Where do you live? Where do you work? Share some family information. What brings you joy? What is your motivation to return to college and get a degree, okay? And then down underneath this, it will give you the requirements. And so you'll see that you are required to have an initial post to this question by the 4th day of the week, or Thursday, and that's Thursday at 11:59. And then you need to respond, have 2 responses. You don't have to respond to each student twice. You just have to have a total of 2 responses to your fellow classmates responding to their particular post. Now here's one thing. You're not going to be able to see someone else's post until you post one yourself, okay? So let me show you how that's done. So you go up here and click on Discussion, Share with Each Other, and you hit Create Thread, and then this gives you the top, so if this is, David Britt's introduction, you can type in David Britt's introduction, and then down here in this text box, you'll be able to type in all of your information. I would encourage you to use in discussion forums the type in function. Sometimes you can do something in Microsoft Word and then copy paste it in here. Sometimes the formatting gets a little wonky when you do that. So if at all possible, I would encourage you to type directly in here. You have several things here to be able to help you format your text, okay? And then whenever you're done, you click Submit. If, for example, you were going to submit something, let's say you wanted to do something and you wanted to submit a video as part of that, you can come down here and click Browse Local Files, find the video on your computer, attach it, and then submit it, and it will show up in the discussion forum as well, okay? So every single week you're going to have a discussion forum that will require you to do 2 things. 1, provide an initial post, and 2, provide a minimum of 2 response posts. So make sure that you look at this class discussion piece to understand what the professor is looking for that week. You can also look at the rubrics that week as well to understand the minimum number of words, whether you have to use sources, and so on and so on. So that's the first thing that you have to do the first week. Now this class will have an assignment paper that you need to do, and this assignment paper is going to be different. Rather than having you write a new paper every single week, you have what is called a cumulative paper process. And what that means is you are going to take individual components of a paper and add to it each week. So you're going to start off here, and I'll show you in a minute, with a template. You're going to have a cover page, and then you're going to add different things each week so that by the time you get to week 7, you will have a really large paper. Now, the advantage to this is you don't have to write the entire paper each week. You have to write components of that paper and add it to. Think of it as a building block. So you have You have one piece, you add to that building, in another building block to that, you add another to that. And so at the end of the building block process, you're going to have one big paper. So what you're going to be doing in this paper is writing a paper about a new student going back to college to complete their degree. Sound familiar, huh? That's you. And there are several things that you need to learn about yourself in order to do that. I am fully aware that it's been a while, perhaps, for some of you who have written an academic paper. And so you're going to need to refresh yourself on APA, paper formats, double spacing in your paper, headings, indentation, and paragraphing. And so what we intend to do is to walk you through this paper each individual week by adding different things to it. So you'll have a cumulative paper process here in week 1. You're going to have an outline, and all you have to do is change the cover page. Then you're going to have an introduction, and so on and so on. And then what's going to happen is you're going to submit that piece that week. The professor is going to look at it, tell you what he or she likes, what he or she does not like, and give you opportunities to change it and improve it for the next week whenever you submit it and the next building block component for that paper. So the template that you're going to be using as a guide for this paper, I've included right here. So you see ECBA 200 My Success Plan document. So let me load that up for you. So this is what you're going to see. This is the cover page. The title is already given for you. All you have to do the first week is type in your name and then type in the due date for this. And the due date, you can either put the final due date, which is the final one in week 7, or you can put the final one for that week. So here, the first week, you need to change the name. You need to review the format of the rest of the template so you see what you're going to be adding each week. And then what I really want you to understand is to consider how doing this in the future, how setting up outlines like this can really help you in your writing. So this is all you have to do in the first week. It's going to be the easiest perfect score you ever get on a paper, okay? And then here in week 2, you're going to be working only in this section. You're going to be working on the introduction. The introduction of a paper is very important because it tells the reader what the purpose of the paper is. And so you're going to be typing this in. And again, you are building a personal success plan for you for this program. So what you'll do here at the end of week 2 is you'll complete this introduction, and you'll still have this cover page. That's all you do for week 2. Your professor will look at it. He or she will grade it. They'll tell you what they like, what they don't like, and you'll have a chance to fix that before you get into week 3. Now, you don't have to resubmit it. What you'll do is you'll resubmit it as part of your week 3 submission. So now we're into week 3. You have a personal overview. This is where you provide a foundation for your paper. You provide some personal background so that the reader can get a good understanding of who you are. And then you share your motivations on why you're going back to college. And you use some outside research. This is where research is going to become important to support your reasons and demonstrate that not only are these reasons that you have, but they are reasons that other students have as well. And so the purpose of this is we're showing you how to utilize proper headings in APA. We're showing you how to make sure that you're using proper margins and everything else. It's just that we're providing the template for you to be able to do that. So at the end of week 3, what you'll do is you'll submit this information along with the information that you have on the introduction that you've corrected based upon the professor's comments, as well as the cover page, and that will be what you'll do for week 3. And then you see down here in week 4, you'll do that with challenges and issues that you may face as a incoming college student. You'll do the same thing. You'll use these headings. Don't, like for example, motivation number 1, motivation number 2, motivation number 3, challenge number 1. You'll need to replace the number 1 and just put the actual motivation. So for example, if part of the reason or motivations that you're going back to school is to earn more money, you can make this motivation financial, or you can make it career advancement or something like that. the challenge, instead of saying challenge number 1, you may have work-life balance or something like that. Okay? So here at the end of week 4, you'll submit this along with the corrections that you've made based on the professor's comments for your overview and motivations, also for your introduction, and so on and so on. So I'm not going to go through the rest of this, but hopefully you see how each week you're going to be able to work on this so that by the end of week 7, you will have a fully developed, fully reviewed by your professor paper that you'll be able to submit. Okay? And then you'll also see a reference page. Now, we're going to be going over APA formatting and other things in the course. But hopefully what you see here is you're able to see how we're going to take this cumulative approach to writing papers because, again, many of you have not been in a classroom in quite a while. And so we want to make sure that we take care of that, okay? So when you're ready to submit this paper, what you will do is come down here, hit Browse Local Files. You'll find that paper, and you'll submit it, and you'll upload it and submit it that way, okay? So the other thing that you need to see down here is under General Submission Information. I am requiring that you name your file a certain way. So if your last name is Jones, and it is week 1, at the end of week 1, you need to submit Jones A1 as the name of this file. Now this just helps me find your paper. I store them all on the cloud. If you have a question about it, I can easily find it that way, okay? And then the final thing you have to do each week is a quiz. And these are typically 10-point quizzes, except for the last couple of weeks where they are short answer quizzes. And this will be over the readings for the most part. In the textbook, the first week will be more over discussion forums, assignments, due dates, and everything to make sure that you're clearly understanding what's going on with all of those pieces. But if you click on Quiz Week 1, gives you a little information there. You click Begin, and you have 1 hour, which is more than enough time, to complete this particular assignment. Okay? So that is week 1. If you go to week 2, you're going to see a lot of the same things. So week 2, there's a discussion, there's an assignment addition, and then there is a quiz. So we try to make it easy from a navigation, easy to understand perspective for you. And so if you have any questions at all about this, please make sure that you don't guess. Talk to your professor, reach out to them. They will help answer any questions that you may have. I had a student one time who said, I'm not sure if this is what you're looking for, but I submitted it anyway. And I said, oh my gosh, at the point you don't understand if that's what I'm looking for, make sure you reach out and contact me. All right? I look forward to your participation. And again, welcome to the program and welcome to Charleston Southern.